What's up, Dallas Mavericks fans, MFFLs? We are now one day away from finally getting to see this team in action in Abu Dhabi against the Minnesota Timberwolves. October 5th will be game 1. October 7th, I believe, will be game 2 against the same Minnesota Timberwolves in Abu Dhabi. So this team is going to be able to have some time to learn each other. Find that time again to just spend that. To me personally, this is my favorite part of these big travel vacation type games, I guess I'll call it, because what it can do is potentially bring a team together, especially when we're talking about a team that's going to have a little bit of roster changeover and turnover, because again, we're going to have some new guys. We're talking about Olivier Maxence Prosper. We're talking about Derek Lively. We're talking about some guys now we're bringing back like Seth Curry. And again, now finally we're going to have a couple guys like, let's think of a guy like Markieff Morris, who may find himself in the mix. Again, he was not able to really get much run last year due to some injuries, and also just being new. And also, we already know exactly who helped, I guess, pretty much fill in this complete duo, Kyrie Irving being able to be re-signed. So this team is going to be able to be added to the group of guys like Grant Williams. I'm expecting some noise out of him just because this is going to be a perfect opportunity for this team to be able to develop, grow, and learn each other, because what we're going to look for now is nothing like last year. Now, obviously, we're talking about, I guess you want to see yourself more in a dire type situation, because again, you're looking for much more success than last year. There's no way you can have a double case of the issues that we had last year. More so, I'm going to say defensively. And I'm expecting this team to be much improved defensively on that side of the ball, especially. We're going to have the guys that are going to be able to get some buckets whenever we need them. But what we're looking for now is this defensive improvement. And this is going to be the perfect opportunity for these guys, like I said, to be able to grow, learn each other, and just have that time apart to build that camaraderie that you also don't necessarily are able to get when you're talking about just a regular standard preseason game. So this is going to be a great start. Let's get into it a little bit. The Dallas Mavericks finally kick off the season tomorrow, and I'm going to say season because, again, these are the final stretch of preseason games beginning in Abu Dhabi against the Minnesota Timberwolves on October 5th. This team, of course, has had a lot of changeover. We're talking about some guys that we're now bringing in. A former first-round pick and a guy like Dante Exum. Derrick Jones Jr., another high leaper defensive player, defensive type player. He's going to be more of that energy type guy. Of course, Grant Williams from the Boston Celtics. That's a guy that's been around a team that has had some nice deep playoff runs in the last recent years. We're talking about led by Jason Tatum, a guy like Jaylen Brown. Grant Williams was, again, one of those type of guys that found himself pretty much in that role where you're looking at some defensive position. And we're talking about a guy that's not big, but he's a nice solid size guy. So he is able to play that 3 and that 4, small ball 4 at certain times. And of course, when having a team led by Luka Doncic, also with a guy like Kyrie Irving, we know these are bucket getters, and also Luka Doncic in the way of being a playmaker. You're looking for guys that are going to be able to fit themselves in nicely and pretty much be able to be those spot-up shooters. My thing is, what we've seen over the last recent years with the Dallas Mavericks, of course, unfortunately, we're passed on a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, now with the Brooklyn Nets, but a guy like Reggie Bullock. Those two for sure, where you're more your 3 and D type players. I am very good with having a couple of those guys, but what I want to do is build this team in more of a solid, I guess just more versatile type players, offensively and defensively. We're talking about guys that are able to kind of get their own bucket here and there. And if you're not able to get your own bucket, be more of just a 3 than just a 3 and D type guy. Now we're looking at a type situation where you're adding a guy. Look in the draft. We're able to work some magic. Nico Harrison. All the things that have kind of been talked about over the last couple of years, we're waiting to see exactly what is he going to do. How is he going to put his own stamp on this franchise? And Nico Harrison on draft night, of course, flipping some moves around and being able to bring in a guy like Olivier Maxence Prosper. So we're going to call him O-Max. Remember that name right now, because you're going to hear that a lot. That is a guy I'm very excited about, because what we were looking for, again, like I said, we're talking about those 3 and D type players. He's a guy that I feel like is going to have more capabilities than just being a 3 and D type player. Because if you watched him during Summer League in conjunction with a guy like Derek Lively, again, our higher first round pick out of the University of Duke, the center, Derek Lively, Olivier Maxence Prosper, he's going to be a guy that you're going to be able to see cut to the basket. Getting in transition is going to be where I see him getting a lot of run and being able to put his stamp on some of these games. We do know Josh Green is now returning. Again, he is a guy that we've seen develop a little bit more over the last couple years, but I still feel like there's a level I personally would love to see him reach that I feel like will help this team, because Josh Green is now in that, I guess, that realm of, we're talking about the front office is possibly looking to get him and giving him an extension. Josh Green is a guy that I'm going to say I'm excited, but I'm expecting to see another leap in just showing again that he can be more consistent. That's what you're looking for from Josh Green in this upcoming season. More consistency. Also, a guy like Jaden Hardy. Let's talk about another young guy at the Summer League. We ran him more in that point guard role, I guess, during Summer League, because with the front office, especially in the coaching staff, they're looking to see, can Jaden Hardy be more of a playmaker instead of just a straight bucket getter? You have a guy like Kyrie Irving. So if he can take a little bit of his game and kind of figure out where exactly he can fit his role in, I'm looking at a Jaden Hardy potentially. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm saying that's a role he might be able to fill is that sixth man maybe potentially by season's end, and hopefully heading into the postseason run. This is going to be one of those years where you're going to kind of be able to move some pieces around, because what we are used to is seeing a guy like Dwight Powell. As much as we love him, that's an energy guy. And let's be clear, he does have a role on his team, because if anything, I feel like he's going to be a great guy to mentor some of these younger guys. It's more importantly, a guy like Derek Lively. Dwight Powell, he is going to have a role. Again, I'm looking at him more as being like that kind of that Swiss Army guy, where if you're finding a night where you just need a little bit of energy, that's where you're going to find him. Also, Rashawn Holmes, another guy brought in from the Sacramento Kings. After the Sabonis trade, he kind of lost his favor a little bit in that Sacramento Kings, rotation. So getting him on draft night, I feel like that's going to be another guy you're going to have to keep your eye on. He's very good in the pick and roll, and we know that's Luka Doncic's bread and butter. And so this is going to be a year where I'm going to say, let's get some of these guys as much run as we can in this preseason and see where they fit. Because also, returning for now a third time, shooter Seth Curry. That's going to be a guy I'm going to be expecting to find a nice role, because one thing you're going to be able to do with a Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, especially led type team, is you're going to have some open shots, and we need as many guys as we can to knock those down. Tim Hardaway Jr. returning again. He was kind of on that trade block. We weren't really sure, is he going to be on this team? Is he going to not be on the team? We saw he's now officially, at least until the regular season begins. I feel like at least until the trade deadline, you're going to have a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. So we know how streaky he can be. He's going to have some good nights. He's going to have some bad nights. But it's going to be a guy, again, we're just having more firepower off the bench. So this is going to be a nice run. And I'm excited to see what this team can get done in the preseason, because, again, we're going to place some nice talent on the other side of Minnesota Timberwolves. We know what a guy like Anthony Edwards is. We do know what a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, when healthy and playing at his best. We know Rudy Gobert, he's still a defensive presence. So this is going to be an exciting game tomorrow. Like I said, believe the game is going to be 11 o'clock in the morning. So you have to wake up early to see these guys play, but it's going to be very exciting. The Dallas Mavericks now just have a formula. It kind of felt like over the last couple of years we were a little bit in limbo, but now it seems like we have a plan, and this front office has kind of laid things out where they need to be. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. It is going to be a very, very fun ride. Once again, this will be the first opportunity to be able to see this team mesh a little bit against some actual NBA talent in the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the game will be at 11 o'clock Central Time. I know for sure it'll be on Mavs.com. I believe it'll also be on Bally Sports. So I want you guys to go ahead and tune into that game for sure tomorrow, so you can get a little bit of look the same way I will. I appreciate you guys for all the support. We are in for a nice ride. I believe it's going to be entertaining. Just seeing the guys pretty much around each other and start to grow and develop. And again, guys pretty much are going to be having the perfect opportunity at this juncture of the offseason. I guess we don't call it offseason because we're ramping up to the actual regular season. But this is the perfect opportunity for these guys to find themselves in their role, their specific role. And we're going to see who exactly is going to come out on top. I'm expecting, hopefully, to be able to see a guy like Derek Lively be able to get that number one starting position at the center, because what we're looking for, especially, is just more, not only in just development and much improvement based off what we got last year from the center position, but I want to see a guy that's that young. If we can get his feet wet and he's able to have some early success, that's going to do nothing but set him off to maybe to a much higher ceiling than maybe what he could have probably achieved before. Again, also, we are knowing already that a guy like Derek Lively is being able to be mentored by a guy like Tyson Chandler. So we are in for a fun ride, like I said before. I appreciate you guys for all the support, and go Mavs.